A few years ago, my construction crew began building for a local landlord who was constructing a whole new community, basically, on a cul-de-sac. We weren't told much about the land, and we never asked. We just came in, built the units, and collected our checks. What we were told is that the company who came in before us didn't stick around long. The crew packed up one afternoon and never returned, leaving him in a pickle. This was a huge project. It was going to take up most of our summer, starting early June. What we didn't know is that many of us wouldn't be the same after that summer, because many of us experienced things we could not explain. We arrived on site bright and early, 6 a.m. the first day, not needing to abide by any strict noise laws since it was an isolated area. I briefed my men on the first order of business, and we all headed off. I was one of those bosses who got my hands dirty. I still am and always will be, even with my business rapidly expanding. I don't like idle hands. I heard one of my guys hollering, "Hey, get out of here!" So I headed towards him, shouting, "What seems to be the problem over here?" But as I rounded the corner, he was staring off, looking bewildered. I heard little kids giggling behind me and asked them twice to leave. Finally I hollered, but when I just turned around, they weren't there, he said, shrugging. I didn't hear or see any kids run off. Maybe you were hearing some off in the distance. It's an empty field, sound travels, I said. Jimmy shrugged, still looking bewildered, and turned to get back to work. I was helping him fix a crooked door frame on one of the few units the previous company had started, when there was giggling coming from somewhere behind us. "Well, see, I'm not crazy. You hear that, right?" Jimmy asked. "Sure do. I hear two little ones having a good old time," I replied. "I'll go send them on their way again," I added. But, at least in the immediate area, there were no kids. There wasn't a sign of anyone, except a few yards away, the other crew members working away on their assignments. "I don't know, Jim. I guess I'll have to drive around later and scope out the area. Maybe there are kids playing in a nearby field or patch of trees," I said. Later, near the end of the day, it was nearly dark, so everyone packed up and headed home. I had stayed behind to make sure everyone cleaned up and there were no safety issues before heading home myself. I felt all of the hairs on the back of my neck stand up, which at first I thought was odd, because I wasn't nervous or scared about anything. Nothing had happened, yet. I headed towards my truck, looking around one last time, everything seemingly fine, when suddenly I heard a scream. If you've ever heard a child scream out of pure terror, it's not something you ever forget. Sometimes, when I close my eyes at night, I can still hear it. Find the source of that scream and help him or her was all I could think. I ran around searching and calling out for what seemed like an hour, but didn't hear or let alone see anyone. I wasn't quite sure what to do. Could you really just call and report a random scream to the police? Should I? Will they just laugh and hang up? I have to at least try. I called and they reassured me it was the right thing to do, and that a patrol car would check out the area. But I couldn't just leave. I waited to make sure they did send one before finally heading home. The following day, I was working at the saw, cutting a few boards that were delivered the wrong size, when I nearly cut my finger off as one of the guys let out a scream. I thought there was an accident, so I went flying out of my area towards the commotion. "What happened? Do we need medics?" I asked. But a few of the guys were laughing. "No, Brad here just thinks he saw a ghost, so maybe you should have him taken in, just to have his head examined," said Dave. "All right, go on, get back to work, and let Brad and I sort this out," I said. Boss, I swear, I heard whistling, then I heard giggling. So I turned around and saw a little girl standing there. But she was gray. She didn't look alive, he said. I could tell he wasn't faking or exaggerating. He was telling me a genuine experience. So I sent him home to get rest and assured him I'd deal with the guys. The rest of the afternoon, I couldn't quit thinking about what I'd experienced the night before, and the way Brad looked. So that evening, I packed up and left as quickly as possible after safety checks. As I was driving off, I thought I saw a kid dart out in front of me. Slamming on the brakes and letting out a few curse words, I hopped out of the truck to make sure I didn't hit them and to help them get home. But there was no one around again. I thought for sure I heard whistling and hopped back in my truck, knowing again I wouldn't find anyone around anyway. When I got home, I went straight to my laptop. I had to do some searching. I entered the name of the road the land was on, and I was in shock. About 15 years prior, there had been a small cabin in the woods on the property, where a family lived with their twins, a boy and a girl. The cabin burnt down in the middle of the night while the parents had been away overnight to celebrate their anniversary. The husband's sister also perished in the fire. That summer, the entire summer, we saw and heard those twins over and over again. The entire crew had experiences they still talk about to this day, and we can all still hear those screams. When I read this email, I had to share your story. Thank you so much for your submission. This one was intense. I can't imagine the sound of the screams, nor do I want to. I hope you and your crew are able to find peace. If you have a paranormal story to share, email it to the address in the description below. Please like the video and subscribe if you haven't. And with that, see you tomorrow, friends.